smile from sparkly belly. Many dancers tell me that they want to hide their upper arms and back when they dress for their belly dance performances. So I created this shrug with ruffle sleeves inspired by Ghawazee coats. The front opening allows you to show off your beautiful bra, and the ruffle sleeves look gorgeous as you move your arms. And in this video, you'll see how to make one for yourself. Let's get started. To make this shrug, you need a fitted long sleeve shirt, about 1.5 yards or 1.5 meters of stretch fabric, about 1 yard or 1 meter of 1-inch elastic, and matching color thread. First, put on your long sleeve shirt and mark a few things with safety pins so they don't come off when I take off the shirt. First, your underbust line. Feel the bottom of your bra and place a safety pin there. Next, your elbow. Just on one of the sleeves, mark where your elbow is. And finally, like Ghawazee coats or Turkish vests, I wanted a front opening to showcase the decorative bra top. So think of the rough shape of the front opening you like for the half of your shirt and mark about 1/2 inch inside of the outline of the opening. And take off your shirt carefully so you won't lose the safety pins. Next, fold your stretch fabric in half so the stretch is perpendicular to the fold. Fold your shirt in half and place it so that the back side of your shirt is facing out, and align the fold of the shirt and the fold of the fabric. Trace the back side to the level of your underbust line, which you marked with a safety pin. Add 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimeter seam allowance, and at the bottom add 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters seam allowance and cut along the line. Similarly, fold the shirt so that the front side is facing out, align the fold to the fold of the fabric, and trace the outline to the underbust line. For the front opening, mark where the safety pins are to the fabric, then connect the points with a smooth curve. Add 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimeter seam allowance, and at the bottom add 1 inch or 2.5 centimeter seam allowance and cut along the outline. Next, place the sleeve with the elbow mark against the fold of the fabric and trace the armhole all the way to the elbow mark. Add 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimeter seam allowance, cut along the outline, and mark the fold at the armhole here with a notch, which is a tiny snip within the seam allowance. Repeat this to make another sleeve. Finally, measure the length of the elbow mark to the end of the sleeve. Add 3/4 of an inch or 2 centimeters to this number, and I'll call this length A. And measure the width of the sleeve at the elbow mark. Add 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimeter and divide this number by 3. I'll call this length B. Write down your length A and length B somewhere so you won't forget these numbers. Fold your fabric in half, and here the direction doesn't matter. On the fold, pick a point and measure length A and mark it there. Measure length B and mark. Measure length B again and mark, and measure double length A. From the mark that's in the middle of 2 length B's, measure length B around so you have a half circle. From the half circle line, measure length A from the first length A all the way to 90 degrees from the fold. From there, extend the line smoothly all the way to the double length A point, and you have this half oval-ish shape. Cut along the lines and make a notch at the longer side at the fold in the small half circle. And use this as a template to make another one. Now the rest is easy. We get to sew all of these parts together. First, place front and back panels right sides together and sew the shoulder seams with a 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimeter seam allowance using a zigzag stitch. Then, place one of the sleeve pieces right sides together and align the notch and shoulder seam. Match up the end of the curved section to the end of the armhole and the rest as best as you can. Place pins and do a zigzag stitch with a 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimeter seam allowance. If it's hard to match up perfectly, don't worry. Match them up as best as you can and you can just pull gently to match up the lengths as you sew. And repeat for the other sleeve. By the way, I highly recommend these clips when sewing sleeves instead of using pins. They're much easier to place and don't make the fabric wavy, so it's easier to sew. You can find them in my favorite tool list on my blog. Then fold everything right sides together and do a zigzag stitch from the end of the sleeve all the way to the side seam for both sides. Next, turn the top right side out and take one of the round panels and place it around one of the sleeves right sides together. Match the notch with the seam of the sleeve and match up the rest as best as you can. And do a zigzag stitch with a 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimeter seam allowance. Here too, if the sleeve hole and the round panel are not matching up perfectly, distribute the excess fabric as evenly as possible when you pin the layers together and pull gently to match up the layers as you sew. Repeat this for the other sleeve. Now take the elastic and sew it right against the bottom edge on the wrong side using a zigzag stitch. Just very gently pull the elastic when you sew. Make sure the ends overlap about 1 centimeter or 1/2 an inch and cut the excess. Then fold again to encase the elastic and go over the stitches again with the zigzag stitch. Again, gently pull as you sew. Finally, for all the rest of the raw edges, fold over 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimeter to the wrong side and do a zigzag stitch to finish up. I left the sleeve edges unfinished because I like the way they looked and stretch fabric doesn't fray. But for yours, feel free to fold them or add trimming here as you like. And your Ghawazee coat inspired shrug is finished. I used elastic at the bottom edge since I like the simpler look, but if you want to turn this into a tie top, you could do so by splitting the front part in the middle and add ties. With the ruffle sleeves, it's so pretty on its own, but it would look super cute if you add trimming along the front opening or ruffle sleeves. If you add trimming along the front opening, make sure the trimming stretches too. This shrug gives you lots of flowy movement while offering nice coverage. Speaking of coverage, in my next video, I'll show you 6 ways of covering upper arms for your dance costuming. If you're curious, be sure to subscribe to my channel or sign up for my newsletter on sparklybelly.com. Hope you like this Ghawazee coat inspired shrug DIY, and if you did, please share this post with your dancer friends. This would make a really nice troop costume as well. And if you make your own, please share your creation on Sparkly Belly's Facebook group. I love seeing what everyone makes. Thanks for watching and keep sparkling!